Khatre dragging his name into anything that's got nothing to do with him. Nelson Mandela said this. Let the man rest. Let him rest, bro. Yo, let Mandela rest. Why? I'm a billionaire, Buffett. Did he also say that? Anyways, that's what he said. That's what the president said. Now I got nothing to say, Shem. I'm afraid to say shit. But Trump is just actualizing America's potential. What are these guys doing? God knows what they're doing. So let's look at Ugwede. Ithini Tiger? Ithini ubab Tiger? Oh my God! You guys know the video. Ugwede walk. The video I can walk of that. To the podium or something. A young grad. Tiger's body. Tiger. Just leap, man. Just leap. It's nice to be a politician. Just leap. You can just provide leap and walk off. I told. Is this him? Let's see.
Clear social ownership must be part of it. Otherwise, we're going to create what we call an Irish coffee scenario. That Irish coffee scenario means that you will have your coffee at the bottom, black at the bottom, with a white cream. That means the actual cream of the economy remains primarily in white hands. And you will have sprinkles of chocolate on top of the cream, which means that very few blacks are going to be empowerment group.
Also, he knew. So he. Oh, nah, Levita. Now everything he put out. So he knew this was gonna happen. Isn't it crazy? And then they went ahead and then they were part of architecturing it. Life's a bitch, man. Isn't it crazy? But he was talking a bunch of nonsense.
Particularly when that believe that whites are the saviors. Those good news that we talk about as a country, as a collective, right? But here's the thing now, Minister. Conversations are moving away from people judging political parties on their intentions, but more on what they have delivered. Are you happy with what the ANC has delivered so far?
Can I tell you the difference between South Africa and China? I want to use China because it went through the revolution, cultural revolution, which almost destroyed the country.
China is active leaders. Have active leaders who put the country first.
Transformed it into a current China. The difference is that Chinese people put their skin in the fire. South Africa will develop a theory of delivery, which means you sit back, you sit in the sun, and you expect the state to deliver. And people are not involved. And I'm saying, if our people can be involved, we'll be a better country. Let's work on that. It's a mistake we've committed as the ANC. I must own up as well. Where we created a passive society instead of ensuring that there is an active society that participates. That's why this debate, for example, let me squeeze it. There's a new debate now about BEE, that it should be scrapped. People who say that are mainly white parties who are.
You know, it's always interesting to me. Mangibona a politician le ANC nalo likhuluma like me. Naye ukhuluma njengami, ungitshela ama problems. Ungitshela inkinga zase South Africa, diagnosis. People are saying BE is a problem. I mean, there was a professor, I think his last name is Gumed. I'm forgetting his first name. but I think he's a professor at vet. Professor Gumede. He said something in the terms of BE money has been circulated or has been circulating within 100 people, like 100 trillion. I think Robert, let me see, is it Robert? William Gumede, forgive that part. Professor William Gumede, right, from Vet School of Governance, he estimated 1 trillion was transferred amongst fewer than 100 people in South Africa, right? And those are black people, abantu abamnyama labo. Of which is exactly in the issue of ugwede la, funny enough. Which there will be the bottom, coffee. This is my cup, the bottom is coffee. The middle is your cream at the top. Then there are sprinkles, brown sprinkles on top of your coffee. Abo motsepe, abo ramaphosa, abo so and so, abo so and so, right? It's exactly what he was saying.
Clear social ownership must be part of it. Otherwise, we're going to create what we call an Irish coffee scenario.
Irish coffee.
What Irish coffee scenario means.
How does Irish coffee look? Umzulu mina ngazi ngama-Irish coffee. Irish coffee. See, that's Irish coffee. This is what he was saying. This is what Gwede was saying. There is it. I want the one with sprinkles on top. Yeah, it's the one I want. This is basically South Africa. He really summed it up. There we go. This is South Africa. He really just summed it up into Irish coffee. This is the bottom. It's black. And the top is white. And then on top of that, you got the sprinkles there. The 100 people. And then you got the fewer big dogs. The fewer big black dogs. Like paws. You got the big dogs. I'm a black billionaires. I'm a what black multi-millionaires. Whether in dollar or in rand cents. This is what Gwede meant when he talked about the Irish coffee. This is how the Irish coffee looks.
You will have your coffee at the bottom. Black at the bottom. With a white cream.
Yep.
That means the actual cream of the economy remains primarily in white hands. And you have sprinkles of chocolate on top of the cream.
Yep.
Which means that very few blacks are going to be empowerment groupings.
He doesn't even have to finish. You see Irish coffee. That's what he said. And he was young. He was a young man then. Look at him now. He's a grandfather, practically an old man. How old is he? Let me see. How old is Gwede man? I think 70 or something. 70 years. In 6 months, 71. But no, he still has something to say about jobs in South Africa. What does he have to offer? His life is behind him.
For depriving black people of participating in the economy, one as entrepreneurs and two as skilled individuals. And all of those are kept in the backyard. And I'm saying that debate reflects the emboldenment of white supremacy in South Africa after 30 years. That white supremacy...
It's exactly what I was saying. He speaks like me. He tells me of all the problems that I face as an ordinary folk in South Africa, right? Ngisemkhukhwini somewhere eMlazi kwaMashu eDeep Kloof. He gave me, I'm talking about all these problems. This race, white people have the power, white people have the means. Brad, Lomjida has been minister, ama cabinet since 94, ever since the dawn of quote-unquote democracy. Right? But 32 years later, now he's telling me the problem. We know the problem, sir. That's why we voted y'all 32 years ago, or our parents voted for y'all. And then some of us continue to vote for y'all continuously, right? So that in izo addressa zona lezi zinto, infrastructure is broken. Ama-potholes, amabhilidi CBD, uwaras ushonile ufele unyongo. Ufele into engekho uwaras. Someone should be cleaning up the buildings. so that someone ofana nowaras ofuna investor can come in and put his money at generate imali, right? And create an economy. That's what you guys should be doing. And they know this. So sometimes I usually say it's either it's ignorance or it's intentional naivety. Bazenze ngathi ababoni ngesibomo, because it's all about politicking. Every time you come to the people, you come across as if you know the problem. And ngizoyilungisa maduze inking. You know the problem. This problem has been here for the past 30 years. What have you guys done about it? What you've done about it, and you didn't build airports, you didn't build anything. The only thing you did, you renamed stuff that was built by these same white people, right? So at this point, the room is becoming very small for that argument. Because seniphathile majita, seniphathile isikhathi eside, but you talking like it's me. A whole top 6 minister, he's talking like it's me. He talks like he's powerless. Maybe he is powerless. It's just that the teen abalize and this guys. How about that? Because sometimes I think about that too. Maybe it's not naivety. He really knows where his power goes and where does it end. Because we are more mekhuluma about energy stuff, mekhuluma about this or that. There are few people who check him and he never does anything about it. I mean, wayekhuluma ngamalahle uGwede a couple of months ago ukuthi kumele sisebenzise amalahle, fuck green energy, in not so many words. And then Capital spoke. When Capital spoke, he shushed his mouth. And he never uttered a word about it again. I've never heard him talking about coal and energy stuff again, uGwede. So sishona ngaphi-ke uma ukuthi kune-politician elidala eseliyikhehla like him, a career politician, someone who's been in charge in South Africa, but then naye uzokhuluma ngama-problems ase-South Africa like an ordinary person would, right? He's talking like how an ordinary person would. Ukuthi BEE, what do you guys think we should be doing with BEE? We're a long way to go. But basically what he said is, he continued. Let's play.
We all believe that whites are the saviors, and that is white supremacy. That whites are superior, blacks are inferior.
All right. We'll get back to BE in just a moment.
Yes.
But are you happy with what the ANC has delivered so far?
I'm happy that we've delivered. We've changed the outlook of the country.
What did you do? New names. The only thing the ANC delivered, like honestly, besides social grants and everything, but when economically speaking, they're economically bankrupt. I want a policy that can change policies. They can change the economy. They failed in that part. But I guess it makes sense because, quote unquote, they were a socialist movement. But the only thing they delivered were name changes. NSFAS that we used esafunda ngawo siyabonga ngo-NSFAS, we salute. Sifundile sama-degrees esikhuluma isingisi, then we come back sizontshela ukuthi niyabheda because you didn't finish the job, because manje sesibuyile. Let's finish this.
I'm unhappy with the fact that many of our people don't use the advantage of an ANC government. I'm not happy about that. Instead, they expect that government. One day I was traveling with a young girl from the Eastern Cape, and she said to me, the ANC took me through high school in an office school, and they gave me NSFAS. I'm a professional pharmacist, and she says, but the ANC now cannot look for a job for me. And I asked this young lady and said, so in other words, you say, the ANC has given you a fishing rod. It must now catch fish for you. And she says, no, I never looked at it from that angle. And I think that is the angle that is missing in the debate.
But also, Minister, does what you say now tie in with some of the conversations that were had, for instance, in your recent NGC, where, the party acknowledged that there was somewhat of a disconnect with its masses, with its people that it so represents.
This fishing rod thing, yes, I was still saying it. I was about to say, yes, we got degrees and we educated. Like, when the example about this lady who's a pharmacist, she's educated and such. That is cool, but ngizoyivula phi pharmacy yami if I'm gonna open a pharmacy and then there's something with NHI. Let me see. There's something asking me to co-host, but I think I'm done for the stream today. If someone invites me to co-host, I think I'm gonna agree now. But yes, we have the rod, but what's happened is that the pond, there's very few fish in the pond. Ngizoqala ibhizinisi lami, bafika abafana bazongibamba inkunzi, because there's crime in South Africa, cash heist, right? There's, whether it's a garage, whether it's a tavern. I don't co-sign taverns because it's killing us. But anyways, whether it's a tavern, whatever business I'm going to start, there's security factors in South Africa. Number one, there's the infrastructure ephukile, imigwaqo feed, my potholes. The buildings are dilapidated everywhere in every major city: Pietermaritzburg, Durban, Joburg, Free State. Every city, infrastructure field, right? So ngizolibeka phi ibhizinisi lami, ngizolilocate phi ibhizinisi lami. There's security, there's no infrastructure. We just recovered from load shedding a couple. We still do. We're still not sure. Mhlawumbe usazobuya in the next 3 months. What if load shedding ubuya in the next 2-3 months? We don't know. We're still not sure, right? All those things. As much as I have the rod, lenda ishoyo ukuthi ngiphethe induku manje, I can fish, but fish where? Because the pond is corrupted. The pond is dirty. You guys have dirtied the pond, right? Or fish bafila abasaphila. Because now, a few years ago, it was either uzoba cadre. For you to be rich, it was either uzoba cadre, or you're gonna do this or you're gonna do that. But you had to align yourself with the ANC some way, or politically, one way or another, either publicly or privately. Under someone ongaphansi kwethu. The waters have been muddied. The playing field is not the same, and you guys are not supporting someone who wants to fish for themselves. The environment is not stimulating enough for someone who wants to fish for themselves. That's the problem. Uwaras was fishing for himself, for himself. Right? There was no comrade. He didn't ask for any favor. He was fishing for himself. But there was a problem with Aiki security. And we have all these hijacked buildings that these guys know very well about. Bayazi about all these buildings that are in Joburg and everything else. They know about these buildings, but they do nothing about them. That's the problem. So no one is saying Mr. Tiger or Funa. We don't want to work in the public, all of us. At this point already, like the public sector is a public sector. It's got more people than it should, paying a lot of salaries to them, ministers, to vice ministers and their secretaries and their assistants and their security staff. Because now bayazi ukuthi South Africa is not safe. Now bahamba nama-blue lights ngemoto nga-4, ama-BM X5. And petrol is expensive. How much is a full tank for X5? You get me? They know this, right? But now uzokhuluma naye ngathi he's an ordinary citizen. That is really strange and disheartening, to be honest. But what do you say, man? This is what we get.
Declining electoral support and the need to.
This is what we get. You know what? I think that's gonna be it. I'm just gonna be here now. I think there's been people who've been inviting me on TikTok for a while to stream or to multi-stream, to co-host. I don't know if they're gonna invite me again. So if they do, I'm gonna accept. Because I wanted to go through these topics first, right? Then probably start talking nonsense. So let's see. So KZN Premier Industries Mkhwanazi for attending. I mean Mkhwanazi. Like South Africa is down bad. Like we down bad. We praise Abantu for doing their job, bruh. Like we're down bad, bruh. You know when a country is praising people for doing their job, Mkhwanazi is really just uyikatela imhlophe in what we call ehlungwini ngesiZulu. Uyikatela imhlophe ehlungwini, you know? You know that white kid my figure mawufika umlungu elohuze nekasi or emakhaya evakashile uyambona ukuthi umlungu ke lo. Even if there's an albino child, he's that one child that you can just see from a crowd of black kids. If there's an albino child, you can see him or her, right? That's Mkhwanazi, bruh. Like he's just the brightness in all of the darkness that's within the SAPS of South Africa. SAPS of South Africa. How about it? But he's a spark, man. He's life, I guess. But that's simply because the waters are so muddy, you know, and the standards is so low to be a police officer. All you have to do is just be a genuine police officer. That's all it takes. Just be a genuine police officer, be honest, and do your job. You're a hero in South Africa.